The Indiana Fever comes back from 16 down in the game. They had to win it overtime. Let's get it.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? Live wire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't wanna miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is Live Wire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.
All right, the Indiana Fever came back from 16 down against the Atlanta Dream, a team that they swept the season series over, who's trying to make the playoff. But this game had a feeling of kind of like the Minnesota game, but which they was down. They struggled in the first half. It looks like they still had a hangover from the last game. Caitlyn Clark didn't look like herself. Some say she had a migraine. There was a point, I think her and Chrissy Sides had a disagreement, argument on the sideline. But the main thing is, will the same frustration from the Minnesota game carry over into this game? Now, against the Atlanta Dream, Aliyah Boston has had some of her best games against, because the Atlanta Dream do not play the same way as the Minnesota Lynx, which that means that they don't pack the paint, they don't blitz a lot. They play a lot of more perimeter defense out, which they was playing a lot. Alicia Clark and Jordan Canada was pretty much on Mitchell and Clark. But there was something significant in this game that should have happened in the last game. And I went back and looked at a lot of their games where Lexi Hall shot well, and when she got the ball in her hands, she made shots. The one thing else in this game is that Lexi Hall didn't get in foul trouble like she did the last game. And then against the Minnesota game, she definitely was open a lot. She was open a lot in that game. So Lexi Hall, she only had 3 fouls in this game. 3 fouls, and she was pretty much guarding Ryan Howard. Now, you say Ryan Howard against Nafisha Kohler, pretty much about the same person. That's just why I look at it. Ryan Howard is a little bit more aggressive. It's the way she goes to the basket and everything like that. Nafisha Kohler, she's a little savvy, a little bit, she relies more so on her three, and she can rebound pretty good. But nevertheless, Lexi Hall didn't get in foul trouble, and she contributed with 12 points in the game. So right then and there, that goes to show you. And she had a +2 in the game. The third quarter is still the significant quarter that's going to continue to haunt this team, no matter how you look at it. Chrissy Sides is starting to experiment in the last 3 games now, and which she don't need to experiment, because what got her the 5-game winning streak was the dominance of Clark and Mitchell, with a little bit of Aliyah Boston in here. But you can't experiment by putting Katie Lou in. You can't experiment by giving Alyssa Smith minutes because she hits a couple of baskets. You gotta give Dantes minutes because she was able to. Actually, Dantes only played 4 minutes this game, and she only had 2 rebounds, and she only had 1 foul. But she's viable. Why not give her minutes, Katie Lou and Alyssa Smith minutes, where she could be able to be effective on the floor? She has been through the 5-game winning streak. Giving Alyssa Smith minutes when she's a liability, a defensive liability. She gets fouls quick. If you look at her minutes, um, Smith, she was a minus 17. She only had 6 points. She only had three rebounds in this game. She played 17 minutes. That's too many minutes for her to play when you could have gave Dante some of them minutes. Katie Lou had 5 minutes. She shouldn't have had no minutes. You could have gave Dante that minutes. Dante could have had 9 to 10 to 12 minutes in that game. You know, she could have made a different impact in the game where the game wasn't so tight. Chrissy Size is she's taking chances where she don't need to take chances because you made the playoff. That doesn't mean you got to continue to gamble, especially when you're trying to get a different seeding. You don't need to be gambling at all because the fact of the matter is what it's going to cost you. It's going to show frustration in your team. It's going to make your team not have some kind of rhythm or chemistry going down these last they only got 3 games left now. They got Wednesday 2 games. They got 3 games left this week coming up before the playoffs. These are the games that you need to put your best unit in. You need to start Timmy Fanbang and instead of Melissa Smith, you're most likely going to be playing a Vegas team that's not going to have Asia Wilson the next 3 games. She probably is going to be out into the playoffs. So therefore, this is a chance for you to utilize that starting lineup that you put in the fourth quarter with, Tammy Fembelly, Lexi Hall, Kelsey Mitchell, Aliyah Boston, and Caitlyn Clark. They played 17 minutes down the stretch. Caitlyn Clark played every minute in the game. She played 45 minutes. She had 26 points, 5 rebounds, 12 assists, another record double-double. You know what I'm saying? But Aliyah Boston, I want to give Aliyah Boston a little bit of credit because this is the Aliyah Boston that I've been waiting to see. I want her to play like this. I want her to be dominant, you know what I'm saying, in the paint. Stop being tentative. Stop looking for fouls. This game was called pretty evenly and everything because the fact of the matter is nobody was whining for calls. You know, even though the Atlanta Dream was a little bit. But at the same time, the Minnesota, to me, you go back to the Minnesota game, if Lexi Hall was able to hit a couple of threes, if she was hitting more threes in that game, the Indiana Fever would have won that game. It would have been easy pickings for them. But Chrissy Size got to understand what got them there in the second half of the season is what they need to continue. Yeah, if you get a mismatch with Aliyah Boston down in the paint, then go to her. But do not rely on that as your source because teams are going to collapse. Like I say, they didn't do it to her. She was able to get to the basket. She was able to finish around the rim. She was able to get the rebounds. But she had 30, 13, a double-double, a game high, 5 assists in that game. And she was a +9, and she only had 3 personal fouls in that game, 1 steal, 1 block. So, and 2 turnovers. Clark had 9 turnovers, which most of them turnovers was in the first half. But they only had 2 turnovers in the second half. So that's a very good improvement. And the defense got better because you was utilizing the defensive ability. Even Tammy Fembelly had 9 points. She contributed. In there, she had a couple easy layups. A long pass from Caitlyn Clark. Kelsey Mitchell, she had a quiet night, but she was effective. She was 2 for 7 from the 3. Clark was 4 for 13. Lexi Hall was 4 for 5. Lexi Hall is shooting like 65% from 3-point lane. I mean, that's high. I mean, that's probably the best in the league right now. And you want to continue to have her confidence because say if Lexi Hall had started the whole season, this team could have probably been winning games. Katie Lou her and Alyssa Smith has a better game than her, but they both slow. They cannot guard nobody. And when you put them on somebody that's fast, guess what's going to happen? They're going to get blow by, and then they're going to commit a foul, and then it could potentially be a 3-point play. This game in the first half was pretty slow-paced. Like I said, it just seemed like they still had that Minnesota hangover. And then I don't know what happened in that halftime, but they was able to kick out of it and come out of it. So, recap. The Fever led the first quarter by 1 point. Then they was down by halftime. Then they won the third quarter, and they won the fourth quarter, and they won overtime. So between the fourth quarter overtime, they scored a total of 38 points to 21 in 2 quarters because the intensity picked up. They had a better showing. They only lost 1 quarter, and that's the second quarter. But they won every quarter from that point on. Stat-wise, the Indiana Fever was 54% from the field, not bad. It was 40% from 3-point, not bad at all. There was 80% from the free throw line, much better showing for the free throw line. They was getting to the line a little bit more, you know what I'm saying? And that's what they have to do. When things ain't working well for you, you gotta drive the basket to the rim and pick up fouls. That's the only way. You can't sit here and like whine and complain to the referees about getting calls or whatever the case might be. Now they had 17 turnovers. Like I said, majority of that was in the first half, but they cut it down in the second half pretty well. They had 23 assists, a better showing in assists. 12 of them was Clark's, 5 was Boston's. There was 37. They got out rebounded by the Atlanta Dream, which they usually out rebounded teams, but Atlanta Dream had 38 rebounds. The Fever had 37, and 15 of the 38 rebounds for the Dream was offensive rebounds, and we only had 7. And then block shots was evenly. They had 5, we had 4. Steals was a little there. They had 8 steals, we had 5. Personal fouls, they had 21, we had 19. So, but nevertheless, I think, to me, I feel like at the end of the day, Chrissy Side is going to have to continue to not change the lineup. Right now is the best time for her to bench Alyssa Smith on the sideline. Now, and this is what I'm gonna tell you. This is what Chrissy Side's thinking. Okay, we got the Fever, so I mean we got the Aces. Angel Wilson might not play, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep on starting Alyssa Smith. No, don't start with Alyssa Smith. Start with your strongest team that closes out games. If you start with Timmy, Lexi, Mitchell, Boston, and Clark, guess what's gonna happen? You're going to get defensive rebounds. You're going to be able to push the pace on them, and you're going to be able to run the floor, and you're going to be able to get a big lead and get rid of them quicker in the game. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? You'll still have the energy in Friday night's game because they're going to be tired. So then you can push them again. Chrissy Sides has to start Timmy Fanbilly here on out. She has to start her from here on out going towards the playoffs. If she does not start her and she continues to start Alyssa Smith and they continue to have these scoring laps, defensive laps with Alyssa Smith on the floor, it's going to cost them big time in the first round, no matter who they play, and they're going to get knocked out. I will put Timmy Fanbilly in the game because of her energy. Now, Timmy does do a lot of helping, but she does run the floor and she does other things well. And then you got to utilize Lexi Hall a little bit. When Mitchell or Clark is not getting her shots and they can't get it to Boston, that's when you need to utilize Lexi Hall on the outside. Set pick and rolls for her to pop her out and get her set for a set 3. Because then that loosens up the defense because they have to pay more attention to her. And then Clark and Mitchell and Boston, they could all get their shots. Yeah, and if you use Timmy to get putbacks under the basket, then you good. But Nalissa Smith, she doesn't know how to back down. I seen a couple of times she'll get the opponent back down. She doesn't go up. She end up trying to drive around the um the defender and then trying to put the ball up on the opposite side, and she either makes a shot or she's getting blocked. She needs to use her body to get into the defender like Boston does. Boston, you know how to use her body to get inside to the defender and make the basket. So, but I'm gonna let y'all listen to what they had to say at the post game about the game and does it feel like a playoff?
You mentioned the turnovers earlier and how bad it was in the first half. I kind of want to circle back to that a little bit. What was the kind of the message on that topic at halftime? Because you really cleaned it up. A lot of those turnovers in the first half were unforced. What was kind of the message in that first half? Only 4 after halftime.
Yeah, I thought a lot of them definitely were unforced, whether it was dribbling off a leg, backcourt violation, which was not a backcourt violation. You all saw it. I don't understand. I don't know, but it's not a backcourt violation. Yeah, I mean, and like I felt like one turnover turned into 2 turnovers, and that was the problem for us. And sometimes when it would just play right into their hands, like the ones that weren't forced, that was all our doing. And those are the ones you really have to eliminate. If you're trying to make a play and it's a good turnover, we still don't want it, but at least give your team a chance to get back and play defense. So I think that was the area we cleaned up. The ones in the second half didn't feel as much, they didn't score as much off of them, minus probably the one I threw cross court to Lexi that Ryan stole, but a lot better in that area in the second half.
Yeah.
So you hear Caitlyn talked about the turnovers, in which she's going to always have high turnovers. It's something that you can't really, she's been like that ever since she's been in college. So, but you guys, as a team, you have to control the turnovers more so, especially when you get into the playoffs, because that's when teams gonna play tougher. Defense is gonna be a little bit more physical, and they're gonna have to be able to, because you gotta think, you can't rely on Kelsey and Clark to score all the time to bail teams out. Everybody else have to step up. Everybody else have to contribute. And this is where Chrissy Sides got to understand her personnel, and she still don't get it, because guess what? For the last 2 games, this game and last game, the old Chrissy Sides starting to revere its ugly head again. And she's going to cost this team a game or a series by not doing the right thing with her starting lineup. At the end of the day, you're supposed to be the coach. You're supposed to say, okay, I'm making this personnel change for the stretch run to the playoffs. I want to see how it looks. If it works at the end of the game, I want to see what it looks like at the beginning of the game. Nalissa, you're not going to start these last 3 games. I'm going to put Timmy in. You come and back her up when I put you in. Then I will not bring Katie Lou in the game. I will put Dantas in the game. And then I will move Grace Berger up. I will push Wheeler, Wallace, and Katie Lou down to the bench, and I'll bring Grace Berger up. You never know what Grace Berger could give you. You know what I'm saying? And then at the end of the day, you run with those starters and see what it looks like. I think going against the Aces on Wednesday night is going to be a very good opportunity to put Timmy in the starting lineup. She could run the floor. She could outrun them. The only person on that team, they starting 5, that's going to be able to run is going to be Alicia and Kelsey Prom. And if you start putting Kelsey Prom in pick and roll situations and make her play defense, her shot is not going to fall. Then they're going to have to look scoring from somewhere else. And especially with them not having Asia Wilson, because I don't think they're going to allow Asia Wilson to play the rest of the season. They're going to probably save her for the playoffs. So therefore, you got 2 games to take away from them. Don't care if Asia Wilson is there or not. To win the last 3 games of the season, the Indiana Fever need to win. They need to go into the playoffs with a good mindset. I'm gonna let y'all listen to a clip of Aliyah Boston, and I'm gonna close out.
Yeah, I mean, I think right now we're kind of in the space where we just have to make sure that we're keeping our foot on the gas. I think we know that we're very capable of beating any single team just because of the way we play, the pace that we play at, and just the weapons that we have all around the floor. And so for us, I'm really proud of us today because we were down 15, but that didn't stop us. We came in timeouts. We talked about what we need to do. We talked about executing, making sure we're getting stops, and then being able to score. And so I think that we're in a good spot. Just continue to know that even if we're down, no matter what time of the game it is, we're very capable of coming back.
Exactly. So the key thing that Aliyah Boston say, keep your foot on the gas. And this is where Chrissy Sides got to allow them to continue to be that pace. They got to learn to push the pace. As soon as they get the ball, push the pace, keep it going, get the best shot, find your cutters. The backdoor play between Boston and Mitchell or Clark or Mitchell, that's going to always be there because teams don't look to guard the back door. The Indiana Fever have been making a living on that backdoor cut a lot in a lot of games. And then you got to think the matchup that Boston is going to present itself, you know what I'm saying, is going to be good. You know, and then you got Timmy. If you have her starting, guess what? She's going to get the rebound. She's going to get the kick out. You're going to find somebody in the corner like Alexi Hall to roll out. Then you got Clark and Oladuma. Then guess what? You creating shots. And I look for Caitlyn Clark and Kelsey Mitchell to really go off on Wednesday night because they're going to have mismatch against the Aces. But to close out on this game, if they did not come out in the second half and buckle down, this game could have easily been lost. Then that would have put them 2 straight losses. And then how well their confidence would have been going into Wednesday's game. But now that they got this win, they went into overtime, their first overtime this season, they won it. Now they say, okay, we could go into Wednesday's game. It's Sunday, Tuesday. They are at home Wednesday, so they really got 3 days off until Wednesday. Then they could regroup, rest, and be ready to roll. They need to come out the gate and punch the Vegas Aces in their mouth. They don't need to play around with them. They need to make a statement against them, say, hey, look, y'all in our house. We lost 2 times on your floor. You ain't got your best player on your team. So I'm sorry for you. But again, Chrissy Sides got to get out the way, man. She cannot sit there and pity you around and thinking it's all good. But anyway, let me know what you think. Leave a like, a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Until then, what I always say about this time, you know what it is.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? Live wire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is Live Wire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.